Hi, I'm Amanda Rutherford and I'm Bayside Council's corporate planner, and I'm responsible for the integrated planning and reporting requirements for council, which is all about how our documents fit together and speak to each other, preparing them, getting them up to council, getting community feedback, and then also monitoring and reporting our progress. With me also is Rodney.
Thank you, Amanda. Hi, everyone. My name's Rodney, and I'm the Financial Strategy and Reporting Manager at Bayside. So my team is responsible for collating information across council to develop its budgets, long-term financial plan, fees and charges, and anything to do with long-term forecasting.
Great. All right. So what I'm going to do today is just talk to you about how our planning documents sit together, and then also what's on exhibition, and you can have a look at and have your say. So our plans, our highest level plan is our community strategic plan. So that is now Bayside 2032, and that's recently gone up to council to be endorsed on May the 11th. So that captures the community's visions and aspirations. We went out to community and asked them what they wanted to see in Bayside in the next 10 years. And from that, we developed 4 key themes, and from there, some community outcomes. What we then do is we take those outcomes and we say, what strategies do we need to employ to deliver on those outcomes? So that's our delivery program, and that's a 4-year document, and that comes into when the new council is elected. They get together and they decide what their priorities will be on delivering that longer term vision during their term of office. So that's why it's typically 4 years long. We've captured those priorities, we've translated them into the strategies that we will be having in play for the next 4 years. And then obviously each year we have to have an annual operational plan. And we look at those strategies and we say, what can we do in relation? What actions do we need to do this year? And we have assigned some measures and targets to those to track our progress and report back to community. In relation to that, we also must have an accountability in relation to our fees and charges. What are we charging community for all our things that we do? And that's, again, an annual thing for 22-23. But we also have a long-term financial plan, which is an overview which talks about how we're going to resource the community strategic plan over the next 10 years. And we talk about workforce and we talk about asset planning. So these 4 documents, the delivery program, the operational plan, which are actually, you'll see those together, the fees and charges and the long-term financial plan are on exhibition until the 13th of June. So next slide, Carly. So this is what the first document is, the delivery program and operational plan. You'll see this when you're going to have your say. So what we have done in this delivery program, which is new, is to call out some of our 10 bold moves, we like to call it. So these are the things that we're focusing on in the next 4 years to deliver, and that can range from a series of strategies for environment and resilience to some of our big city projects, program projects. So we've gone through and itemised those for you. You can have a look at those in the front part of the document and get a bit of more of a feel of what's coming up in the next 12 months to 4 years. So next slide, Carly. What we do in relation to the operational plan is we relate it to the theme of each that we have in the community strategic plan. So there's 4 themes, and the first one is in Bayside, we will be a vibrant place. And what we do is we then say, what's the community outcome for things that would be particular to that theme. So for example, you can see there's the delivery program. The outcome would be Bayside's places are accessible to all. And then it's our job to sit there and say, well, what does that look like? How do we achieve that? What sort of strategies do we have? And you've got that delivery program strategy, that 1.1.1, create spaces, places and interactions that are safe, accessible, engaging. And then what the operational plan does is it says, well, that's a great strategy and outcome. What are the actions that we are going to do in this financial year to achieve that community outcome and strategy? So you can see there that you've got a number of actions in relation to each of those strategies. And we've tried to assign some measures and targets so that we can see how we're going as we go through the delivery program and operational plan cycle. And then we've also called out which directorate will be in charge of that particular thing. So that's something that you can have a look at for a particular project that you're interested in. Next slide, Carly. Okay, so that's basically part 1 of our delivery program and operational plan. So there's a lot of detail about how the council's set up, our 4 themes, our delivery program strategies, and then our annual actions. And then the second part of the document is our revenue policy, which contains rates, levies, charges, the proposed budget, and a city project program details. And I'll just hand over to Rodney because that's Rodney's part 2. So I'm part 1, he's part 2, to talk you through a bit more details of what you can expect when you have a look at those documents for a bit of a deep dive and have your say.
Thank you, Amanda. So as Amanda has taken you through the part 1 of the document, part 2 actually links into part 1. Part 2 contains the financial plan for council, and it contains the annual budget, an estimate of revenue and expenditure for the year. But more importantly, it correlates back to the actions in the operational plan and how they're going to be financed. Part 2 of the document also includes council's revenue policy. So the revenue policy is a document that sets out what the fees and charges and what the rates levy is going to be for the 22-23 financial year. As you read through the document, it's pretty self-explanatory. It shows you the different types of rating categories that are across Bayside's LGA and how rates are levied across those different rating categories. And then you've got some deep information about numbers in there as well. You've got a lot of detail in terms of council's estimates of income for the next upcoming financial year. You've also got estimates of expenditure. And a very important component of the financial plan is, as Amanda's mentioned, the city projects program. So that's what the plan is for council over the next 12 months in delivering capital projects across the LGA. And it includes a list of all the projects that are going to be that are planned to be delivered in the next 12 months, and at a high level, the amount of funding that's been allocated and from various sources, which is what you're seeing in the pie chart on the screen at the moment. So there's a lot of information there, and a lot of work's gone into developing council's financial plan and correlating that back to the CSP and the themes and the outcomes and the actions.
Next slide, Carly. So another exciting document that you will see, which is actually annexure to the delivery program and operational plan, simply because it's a very large document, is you can see all of the fees and charges that are levied by council in relation to the services that we provide. They're listed in detail, but we also have, the next slide, Carly, is a separate document just so you can have a look at an overview of all of the changes that have happened from 21-22 to 22-23. You'll see that there's a number of fees and charges of 905. We've got 45 discontinued fees, 13 new fees. We've called out the 38 fees that have increased by more than 10% and also the 4 that have decreased by more than 10%. So that's just a kind of a shorter document so you can get a highlight for where that's going. Next slide, Carly. So what we'd actually like people to do is to go on to have your say until June the 13th. So that's just after the long weekend. We'd like everyone's feedback on what we'll be doing for the next 12 months and on our delivery program. And you can make comments in relation to any document and also submit a separate submission if you need to. So that's from there, we will then be collating all of that feedback and incorporating changes if we need to and taking it back to council to be adopted on the 29th of June to start on the 1st of July.